Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another riveting edition of The Ghost and the Goat. Sorry, I almost said three dudes for some a nice cold. Delicious beer. More about that in a second. My name is Buddy Thayer. I am a paranormal investigator, welcoming you to join us. Sometimes I have trouble saying welcoming you to join us. Weird. To this most riveting episode, where I, paranormal investigator Buddy Thayer, also beer enthusiast Buddy Thayer, walks you down a very safe road. Beer in hand. You can hold my other hand. We can walk into a very paranormal world together. It's not as scary as one would imagine. Ghosts, they fascinate me. Everything fascinates me about this stuff. It'll never get old. This podcast is merely my opportunity to share with others my fascination of this interesting stuff and share it out to like the COVID virus on a jet airplane to as many people as I can. You just got to have an experience, but I don't know. I'm just going to bring you all different perspectives, and tonight's show is no different. Tonight we're welcoming. He's an author. He's an author. He's a filmmaker. He's a historian, a man after my own heart. Love and history. He'll be on with us in a little bit. That's Larry. Larry will come out with us in a little bit. But for right now, I have some goat stuff. We're gonna talk goat before we get into ghost stuff. So as always, I give you guys a little piece of what's going on here around Red Sox Nation. But first, before I start talking about giving me a reason to drink beer, before I start talking about my beloved Red Sox and their abysmal season of 2025, let me tell you a little bit about another podcast that I do called Three Dudes Brews. We are a pre-recorded and a live show. So we do a pre-recorded monthly show, which we just recorded our 10th episode last Saturday at Long Live Beer Works in Providence, Rhode Island. One right off the bucket list. No expectations were not met. Such a great place, so many great beers, such a great conversation. We basically chat up the brewer, we chat up the bar manager. This was the bar manager, Veronica. She's a lovely lady, and she knows her beers for sure. So we sat there and chatted beer the entire episode, and that will uncrack. We can uncrack that hopefully this week, and then not this Thursday, but every other Thursday. Or every 2 Thursdays, and then every other Thursday. Well, it's usually every other Thursday or so. We do Three Dudes Brews, the last call, where we just get along, get on here, chat it up, drink it up, have beers, talk beers, talk about everything, talk about nothing. And lately we've been having a special dude of the month. It's been turned into a special dude or dudette or of the podcast because we have somebody lined up. Just a regular dude or check from the craft beer community, or somebody who slings beers, or somebody who likes to drink beers, or somebody who likes to do a little bit of both. Just come on and chat with us for a little bit about beer. So check us out. We're not on this Thursday. We'll be on next Thursday. No, we probably won't be on next Thursday because it's the 4th of July, and I'll be drinking beers for sure, but probably not on air because we'll be celebrating the 4th. Lovely time, lovely event. Go USA. Tonight, before I get into I slowed up there a little bit. Tonight, before I get into tonight's abysmal Red Sox, we had the absolute pleasure of going to PVD Brewing the other night. We talked to Efren Hidalgo, fantastic owner, operator, brewmaster there at Providence Brewing. Awesome place. Tune into Three Dudes Brews for more great stuff from Providence Brewing. But anyway, I digress. Hold on. This is cream ale. This is something paranormal in itself, because I am usually myself an IPA drinker. I like the piney shit. I like the stuff that Costas will describe it as like licking a pine cone. It's for me. But this is something different, guys. Or sometimes it's like a stout, like a heavy dessert stout. It's delicious. This is a little different. This is a coreless. It's called a cream ale. I never wanted to drink a cream ale because I always associated it with cream soda, which I do not like at all. I think it's absolutely disgusting. And I made a a childhood growing up drinking Yacht Club soda. And I get to the cream and I'm like, nah. They're like, oh, it's like root beer. No, it's not like root beer, dude. So I always see that was such a bad joke. I hate cream soda. But then I see cream ale. I'm like, oh, that's got to be the same shit. I don't want to drink that. And they're like, no, buddy, it's not the same shit. You should try it. And I tried my first cream ale the other night at Providence Brewing. So try it out. If you're not into new and fun and exciting things, maybe spice up your life a bit. Have a cream ale. It's a 6.0% ABV by volume. Usually, Buddy drinks more of the 8+ baggers. So this is a little bit easy going. Here in New England right now, it's a balmy 102. Air temperature, humidity is like holy doctor. It's really hot out there. So hydrate, and then in between hydrating, drink some really good beers. And this would be one of them. This is not the beer show. As I said, this is the Ghost and the Goat. And I'm gonna, now that I have beer opened and ready to drink, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about something that gives me reason to want to drink. But first, if you're from the Rhode Island, the Massachusetts area, from around New England, this weekend happening at the Attleboro Elks Club, I believe. Hold on, more information on this poster here that I'm going to show you. If you like the any of the intros that I put out there, any of the musical delights, there's a few of them that this gentleman does. Gigawatt. He's also the drummer and the percussionist, if you will, in a band called Exploder. Exploder will be playing at the live outdoor music show at the Elks Lodge at 887 South Main Street, Attleboro, Massachusetts. Starts at 6 p.m. The show will start with Dementia, then Far Too Late, and then Exploder comes on. Really great band. Some really great guys are in that band. Not just the guy who spins the music here on The Ghost and the Goat, but a really good bassist by the name of Paulie P. A really great, holy shit, lead singer. Dude, I thought you were good before. You're so much better that you cut the fat out and it's just you. It's not that other idiot. Facade David, if you will. So check that out, guys. $10 to get in. 5 really good bands. Exploder, these guys are musicians for like the last 30 years. And if you guys like rock, hard rock, this is kind of it. These guys are older, so it's not too heavy metal-ish. But like I said to everybody, guys, it's at the Elks Lodge in Attleboro. You know what the Elks is good for? Really nice halls and really cheap beers. So cheers if you guys are in the New England area. Check them out. It's Saturday, this Saturday, the 28th, if you will, at 6 p.m. The show starts. These guys anticipate being on between 7 and 8. You shouldn't miss Exploder. Check out Exploder. I mean, all the other bands are probably awesome too, but Exploder, check them out. You will not regret it. Things that I do regret. Sometimes not being a Red Sox fan. Sometimes watching it so religiously and getting so upset and sharing in the depression that is being a Red Sox fan. Although spending a lifetime as a Miami Dolphins fan, I know heartbreak and loss all too well. I know what it's like to get your hopes up and think you guys, hey, this might be finally be the year. And it's just month into the season, they shit the bed, and it's like, oh God, here we go again. But with baseball, fortunately, my beloved Red Sox finally did break that curse. Holy Lord, what an emotional juggernaut that was in 2004. 2003, I was very upset at the end of that season, and when 2004 happened, it was a blessing. But what has not become a blessing of the Red Sox, especially as of late, since 2018, when we won our last World Series, the following year they got rid of Dan Dabrowski, who built that beautiful organization up to what it was, to championship style, and they brought in Chaim Bloom, who really sucks. He got rid of all the power hitters, all the money contracts. He got rid of Mookie Betts. I finally get a Sox jersey. I can finally fit my big self into a Sox jersey. I get a Mookie Betts jersey, and what happens? Like a month later, they trade him. Broke my heart. Mookie, we loved Mookie. He was awesome. He was a great ball player, great generational ball player, and we could have had him for years. And what happened? We don't. And he's gone now. He's playing for the friggin' Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers. Not as much as the Yankees, but it still sucks. Anyway, I digress. my Red Sox are now struggling to keep their head above 500. We are now at 500. We were like last week, we were like 4 games out of first. And it was like, ooh, we might catch the Yankees. Ooh, we got the wild card spot. But when it comes down to it, oh my God, these guys are so like awful. And it's really starting to burn Alex Cora, the manager of the Red Sox. It's really starting to burn his ass. And something I wanted to present to you guys tonight is the last 2 games for the Red Sox. Alex scored 2 games in a row. He got ejected because he was angry. The first night was, I'm all for it. I'm going to show you the first play. The second one's a whole lot shorter. We'll talk about it really quick, and then I get tonight's guest. We'll flip the switch. We'll go paranormal. All right. This is a little paranormal though in itself. So this is the other last weekend against the San Francisco Giants. Not to mention, guys, I don't know if you guys follow baseball at all, but the world of baseball, the world of the Red Sox were rocked a little bit when they decided to. I mean, Rafi Devers, he was just like running his mouth for the last 2 seasons. He was all sorts of errors. He was sucking at third base. They moved him off at third base, moved him to DH. He threw a little temper tantrum. Even before that, he showed up at camp. He was fat. He was overweight. He didn't look like he was committed. Last year, he was talking shit about the administration. Quiet dog. I'm upset too. This year, he was talking shit about the organization, about the front office. Things that you just don't do. I mean, you're a great ball player. Don't get me wrong, but they pay you a shit ton of money to play baseball, and you refused. You had a little temper tantrum when they needed you to move over to first, and you refused to do that. And yeah, so that was kind of unforgivable at that point. They went ahead and been like, they made one more attempt to try and like talk Rafi down. I think they got together over in Oakland. That didn't go so well, and within a week, bam, they made this what's described as an awful trade to the San Francisco Giants, who Rafi Devers was playing against, who this clip is playing. The trade, while most fans think was terrible because we got no pieces in the game, we also got rid of a $300 million plus contract. Freed up the room for, I don't know, maybe sign a few pitchers. Maybe they'll make some moves. Maybe they'll make some moves by the trade deadline. They really didn't get anybody in trade. They did get Harrison, that pitcher. He's going right to the bucket. Not to the bucket. I wish he was going to the bucket. He's going to Worcester. I did go to a game on Sunday and for the Worcester Red Sox, and I saw Hicks play. He started the game. He is the second pitcher that they got in the trade. He is been injured, so they started him in Worcester. And guys, he got like he was warming up, and his first bat, I'm like, wow, this guy can throw hard. And he's like, yeah, he throws hard. He was throwing like 100 mile an hour fastballs. Beautiful. This guy throwing baseballs. By like the third batter in, they figured it out, and then they walked a few guys, and then they cranked a home run off of him. And it's like, oh God, it's not even the end of the first inning. It's like I already feel like why, right? And then they get this guy Tibbetts, who's like a single A player right now, and he might be good, he might not be good. And then they get somebody else who's I'm sorry, who's just not worth not memorable at this moment, not worth remembering. So while Sox fans kind of feel like we got a shitty upload with Devers, we did, but we got rid of a massive contract, and hopefully, God willing, the front office does something. I don't know how many games off the Yankees. I'm not presenting that this evening. It's still a long season. We do have the final wild card spot, not locked up, but we're if the season ended tomorrow, we'd have it. But the season doesn't end until the end of September. So there's a lot of the Red Sox could easily blow the entire thing. One thing that has been blown lately in baseball, though, I'll tell you this much, it's calls by the umpire. There have been several pitching calls that were clearly balls or clearly strikes that were called opposite. They have instant replay on the pitch in minor leagues in college. They tried it out in the spring. It went really well in baseball. They decided to hold off on it, but it's where the batter, the catcher, or the pitcher can challenge the pitch, and it's instantaneous. It takes like 5 seconds, and then they put it on a big old screen, And if it was a strike, it's a strike. It's a ball, it's a ball. But and there's no like, what the, that was a ball, or that was a strike, and you didn't call it, and that cost us a game. There's none of that. That did cost the Red Sox a game about a month ago. Bad calls by the umps. But this is another bad call by the umps. This happened last weekend. Duran got in trouble, and then Alex Cora, my buddy, the manager, got in trouble. Here's the clip for you guys really quick.
And a base hit. Duran's going for 2. Yeah.
Just because I didn't see a score bug on the screen, it's Giants 9, Red Sox 5 in the top of the 8th.
Duran's going for 2. He has his throw. He overslid the bag.
This out call will go to replay review. It's a reviewable tag play. A lot of discussion on that to come.
Duran
is challenging the out call at second base.
All enough momentum to lose contact with the base.
That he made it back, so he's going to be the most surprised.
You've heard it before many times. Would it be evidence?
Enough. That is so close.
Well, for me, this is definitively called stands, but let's see if we can settle this.
But this may take a while.
Yeah, they're going to beg here.
Using the wonderful world of
Renee.
I've locked the camera on second base. We see that, that wasn't useful at all.
Did you say cheap 3D tricks?
Let's review. The call stands.
No.
I mean, you're looking at that with me, right?
Right.
Yeah, you said earlier how there's not enough to overturn it on the clear and convincing standard, and now you're upset they didn't overturn it on the clear and convincing standard.
And Duran can't believe it.
Yeah, grab some pie and meat.
And he just kicked him out.
Reason for ejection should be pretty apparent. Can't argue after a replay review.
I don't blame him. What are you going to argue at these umpires here for? It was New York that called it.
And as you're about to see, we also have profanity being directed at the umpire.
So Doug Eddings, the crew chief who made the call at second base, was the one that gave the thumb to Duran.
Gotta love the post-ejection. What I do? I didn't do anything.
Whatever. I do what I want.
So what are we looking at? What's the point of replay? I know it's close. What is the point of replay?
I can answer that. I wrote an article for the Society of American Baseball Research. In 2014, MLB introduced expanded replay for obvious misses, not bang-bang plays.
And here comes Cora and Duran.
Well, I mean, they're all sitting there watching it on the big screen and seeing the finger. Even
now, MLB did go to teams and said, this is for obvious misses, not bang-bang plays. Tony La Russa, who was part of the replay design, said, if you challenge bang-bangs, it's like rolling the dice.
So Alex Cora just gets tossed.
Same ejection reason for Cora, arguing after replay. We've done replay stats at Close Call Sports for a decade now, and the trend is always around a 50-50 overturn to upheld ratio.
So the Red Sox have lost Duran and Cora on that play.
Whether it's when I...
Yeah, so I'm just... The next one is even more whoops, wrong way. It's even more guilty. The built up frustration. He's losing his shit over there in Boston. I think he was on the bag. I think that fingertip was on the bag. And in all fairness, Aaron Duran didn't say, hey ref, F you. He said, hey ref. He's like, F that. He wasn't swearing at the ref. He was just swearing at the situation, I think. Maybe I'm just being a Boston fan and just like trying to look for every excuse why that we suck. Another really quick paranormal fun fact from sports. This week, the Oklahoma City Thunder was able to secure the NBA championship with a win. They defeated the Indiana Pacers with a tough loss after a tough injury. But something a little paranormally about this, if you will. Some people will just say it's a coincidence. Some people will say So 3 Achilles injuries took place in the 2025 NBA playoffs. So that's in like the last month, month and a half maybe. And the 3 guys were all from the NBA East, and the 3 guys were all, I don't know, pretty household staple names if you're an NBA fan. Even if you're not, if you're from the Boston area, you gotta at least know one, maybe the second one. But what's really coinky dinkle about Tatum from the Boston Celtics, Lillard from the Minnesota Bucks, and Tyrese Halliburton of the Indiana Pacers, they all wore the number 0, and they all suffered the same season and next season ending injury, which is, I don't know. Some would say that, that's crazy. Some would say, yeah, but you're reading too far into it. That's just a coincidence. Some would say, wow, buddy, that's like the Men in Black are sneaking in your windows at night. And some would say, maybe it's just the ghost of, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably nothing paranormal. It's a little like, they go, it's the number 0 cursed. I don't know. I always said the number 4 was cursed because Babe Ruth is just number 3. He's just a walking curse. But no, I don't know. But anyway, nothing really to talk about except depressing news about my Dolphins. We're gonna trade away half of our team, and we're gonna have another abysmal season with he's a jolly coach. I like Mike a lot, but it's probably his last leg. And we'll just go up in flames and into mediocrity next season. I hope the New England Patriots do absolutely the same. But anyway, switching gears off of sports, I got nothing sportsy else to talk about. So I'm just gonna. We have our guest. He's here in the studio. I'm gonna bring him on out. So tonight's guest, he's a Let me give you a little preview here. What to expect? I have a little something prepared. I think. Little preparation. Oh, went the wrong way with that, buddy. Okay, hold on. Okay, all right. Yep. All right. Yep. Here we go. Deal with me a second. I'm sorry. Oh God. Ugh. If you're watching, this is yet another riveting edition of Three Dudes Brews. Thank you for tuning into this fantastic show. So tonight we welcome, as seen on the 44th Annual Telly Awards winning series, Expedition Entity from the PARAFLIXX Paranormal Network. Larry is an author, filmmaker, and historian who focuses on lesser-known haunted locations in the American Midwest. Currently, Larry is directing the Séance, a documentary filmed with miraculous Roff House, home of the, I'm probably going to butcher the same, a spiritual miracle, Watseka Wonder spiritual miracle, and a documentary partnering with Secret Island Tours to document a tour of the Emerald Island with Brittney, Bickett, and Michelle Roos. That's probably terrible. His research projects focus on the Black Hawk War of 1832, Abraham Lincoln, Jefferson Davis, where he published his findings in the book Ghosts of the Black Hawk War. We hope to hear more about this really in the next few seconds. Please welcome to the show. Larry, I hope I don't butcher your name, sir. Larry Eissler III. Welcome, fellow.
You got it. It's Eissler. Yep.
Eissler.
Most people don't get it, so good job.
Yeah, I usually butcher names, Larry. So it's one for the books. I'm also a third myself, although my name isn't Buddy. My Christian name isn't Buddy. I am a third by my given Christian name. So cheers to a fellow third, sir.
That's right.
Mm.
I have water, so I'll cheers with that.
Good. Just stay hydrated. It's freaking hot up here in Rhode Island. Where are you emanating from, Larry? Where do you come from?
I'm just outside of Chicago, so it's been.
Oh, that's right. You're that's right, Illinois, right?
Yeah.
Right, nice. That's the Black Hawk War. So more about that in a second. Tell me more about yourself, Larry. Was it history first? Was it the paranormal first? What came first, and what draws you the most?
So technically, it was history first. Yep. I had started my associate's degree in history,
nice,
and knocked that out, and then went on to get my bachelor's in history. And I needed a minor,
Yep.
So a friend of mine who was in film classes, he's like, dude, it's the easiest minor ever. You just
Yeah,
sitting there, you film stuff. It's really not that bad. I knocked a few of those classes out for my minor, and by the time I graduated with my bachelor's degree in history, I almost had a dual major because I took
Wow.
so many film classes.
Yeah.
So, and then went back and got my master's degree in film, and then taught film at the university for 2 years. And then now I love it. It's my thing.
Yeah. No, it seems pretty cool. What now you're I love that you focus on that not so well known history. I'm a huge proponent of history myself. I studied history my first time in college when I was much younger. And I'm a huge fan of like Rhode Island history and local history and
Sure.
like how we became, how we emanated as from a colony, from just a bunch of settlers over here into a while we are still the smallest state in the union, we have much history and much to offer.
Absolutely.
So it's a wonderful study, and I kind of the paranormal kind of found me. I didn't really, well, yeah, it kind of found me, and then I found it, and then I was always sold. So are you investigator, Larry? Do you investigate, or you just film? What's your deal?
Nowadays, I spend most of my time filming,
Yep.
just because you can have these great experiences, but if all you could do is tell people about them, then it's just a personal experience. Someone has to be there to make sure it looks good and it sounds good, so you can show people, like, hey, look at this conversation I had.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do work primarily, mostly with a small number of people. Brittney, Bickett, and Michelle Roos, they're Riverside, Iowa Paranormal. I work with them a lot. I work with Diet Renee, who's a psychic medium that's all over the country. Scotty Rourke I work with. And a lot of times, they'll pull me from behind the camera and be like, you need to investigate now. You've been doing this all night.
Yeah.
So then I'll go and investigate, and I have a great time doing it, but then no one ever films me investigating. So I don't have anything to show for it.
Right. That's too bad.
So but I love it. I love holding the camera and getting the shot. And when you have all the audio, you're the first one that gets to hear the EVP.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
the first one that gets to hear the spirit box response. You're the first one that hears, technically not the first, but you're the first one that hears the Estes lining up.
Oh yeah, right. It's all wicked fascinating. EVPs have always been my my bread and butter as an investigator. I don't know if it's the recorder I'm using. I don't know if it's where I'm placing it. I have no idea what goes into any of that. What do you think, as somebody who knows this like technology a little bit as a filmmaker? What do you think? It's the device itself? Do you think it's how it's made? What are your thoughts? Digital, analog?
I think there's a little bit of everything. Number one, older analog devices, the bit rate they would record at was super low. So that's why you would get that really hissy background noise when you crank the volume up.
Yep.
Nowadays, we have recorders that record in what's called 32-bit float. So now you get the bottom of the waveform a whole lot cleaner. There's a lot less noise. And not only that, but the software to clean audio up nowadays is just phenomenal.
Dude, the free software is pretty good. I can't imagine the stuff that you have to pay for, right?
Right. So, they do a really good job. As long as you tweak the settings, you could get a lot of that noise removed and still keep the voices.
Yep. Now, at what point do you feel like there's only like a window that you can work with, because after a while it just kind of like distorts the voice even more. It makes it sound like sometimes they make it sound more like guttural and more scary, if you will, which is probably not the direction we're trying to go in as investigators. Do you find that too much filtering, too much maintenance to the audio track is not good also? Or
so every filmmaker has their own style, right? Like every YouTuber, everyone has their own thing. I keep my stuff as quote unquote pure as possible.
Yep.
I might raise the volume a little bit if it's quiet,
of course,
or I might lower the volume if it's really loud. I'll do a very minor noise removal just because I don't want that really deep hiss.
Yeah.
But that's it. I don't flip stuff backwards. I don't do any distortions.
Right.
Now, if a person is speaking, I'll add a little bit of equalizer to their voice to make it sound better.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a spiritual response, or if it's in between the person speaking, I'll take that equalizer out. So it's just the almost as raw as possible audio.
Nice. Well, that's cool.
Because, like when I'm in the room and I hear the disembodied voice, I don't get the effects. I don't get the suspenseful music.
Right.
I
God,
don't
no.
get any of that.
No.
You don't hear the word repeat 4 times like you do on Ghost Adventures.
Oh God, no, no.
And then we heard a scream. Ah, ah, ah. No, that doesn't happen.
It's never that easy. No way.
It's right. You're lucky to hear it the first time.
Right.
So, I keep things pretty pure as possible, that it's still somewhat entertaining, but also still true to being an actual investigation.
Nice. So what would you say would be you had to say your favorite, your best, EVP wise?
Ooh. Okay. So this
And
was actually
if you don't mind.
from one of the episodes that we did for Expedition Eddie. It's at a place called Sledgehammers. And just to make a long story short, the original building was built attached onto an 1800s farm silo.
Nice.
I don't know why. They just did it. Who knows? So the original farm silo is there, and it was a true use farm silo. They stored grains and stuff in there back in the day. And now it's a part of a restaurant. Well, in the basement of the restaurant, you can access the foundation of the silo. It's like a 6-foot drop from the basement. And the local legend is that during the construction of the silo, a young boy had drowned in that silo foundation. So we found a picture in a building in the same town of the construction crew of the silo. And lo and behold, in that picture, there's a teenage boy.
Oh, shit.
And we're like, oh, hot damn. Whoa, okay. So we go and investigate. And I brought a friend of mine who'd already been there once before, and the spirits are kind of familiar with. So we're like, maybe it'll bring us some good luck. And we're in this silo, and we're running an SB7 spirit box session. And my friend who's been there before asks for the little boy to say mommy, because the last time he was there, they heard mommy. And right in between the questions, a disembodied voice goes, mommy, in a super high-pitched young boy voice. And at first I'm like, did that come through the speaker? So I'm going through everybody's audio, because everyone has individual microphones on.
Oh, nice.
And the guy holding the SB7 has the loudest noise for the speaker.
Yeah.
But the voice was the quietest.
Wow.
So then you go to everybody's microphone and you can pinpoint where that little boy was standing.
Oh, God,
and he was standing next to the guy who wasn't asking questions. So it's like, okay, we have an actual disembodied voice now. And through his microphone, you can actually hear the echo in the silo too.
Wow.
So
you guys heard it in the moment, and then
in the moment.
Yep.
And then upon review, you're just like,
yeah, you know exactly where you want to go on that recording. I want to go out of here. Yep.
Right. So, but again, like it was super class A, nice and loud, super clear.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything to it.
Yeah, right.
It's just good.
I've had a few of those myself. Yeah, you don't have to touch it at all. You don't have to even raise the volume, because it sounds like somebody else is in the room. Like, wait a minute.
It's
like
the same volume as the spirit box was.
Yep.
And those get loud.
Yeah, they do. Especially on a recorder. It's like, it's that ridiculous. Like, oh my God, somebody turn that down.
Well, and we plug ours into a JBL. So like the JBL's right here.
Yep.
So, like the person holding the speaker cannot ask questions, because you'll never hear them.
What's a JBL?
It's a portable speaker, a wireless speaker.
Oh, all right, yeah.
You can plug an aux cord into it for like the SB7.
Nice.
So, but they give great audio clarity though.
Yep. Now, what's your like? At first, of course, I was skeptical about the Ghost Box, or about the even the SB7s, the original, right? It's the OG of that, and it's like less radio, but it's still, they have the ability to, they have antennas, so they could pick up a radio signal logistically, right?
That's they're designed to frequency hop. So yeah, they are looking for radio signals. You're supposed to increase the sweep rate so you don't get any radio interference.
Oh, I see.
But
Okay.
everybody has their preferred sweep rate. So
Yeah, some go forward, some goes backwards.
fast, slow, super
Slow.
fast.
Yeah. Now I've heard too many to know to myself to prove to myself that there's no way that's going to come through. Like people like, well, how do you know it's not just the radio? It's like a different radio station, right? So it's going across like one word is coming out through like 10 or 12 different stations, all simultaneously, all at the same time. But
I've gotten responses where it's a whole sentence across like a dozen stations.
how do we know that's not like a radio transmission? How do we know that's?
So most of the time we scan ours in reverse and in AM.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you know, 9 times out of 10, when you're in the middle of nowhere at midnight, a lot of those AM stations aren't even running right now.
Right.
So, you know, to get 12 stations in whatever range you're in that are all running right now, and the words are coming through, it's not very likely.
Right. It's very unlikely. You don't have to convince me. I'm just for the skeptics that might be watching. Well, buddy, that's just a radio. You just listen to the radio.
Well, and that's why you crank the speed up to where it just wouldn't be possible to get a word through, especially a larger word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the and stuff like that. Okay, maybe, but you know, when it comes across with not only like a longer word, but an accent,
right,
or a specific phrase, it's like
or
okay,
a swear,
profanity.
Which you don't usually generally hear, like "fuck you" on the radio, but I've heard that on. I've definitely heard that many times. Or this is my house. Get out.
Yeah.
Kind of specific.
My partner in the show, who hosted the show, any device, anything that was a spirit box, would swear at him nonstop.
Wow.
Nonstop. There was one time, an episode, it called him Fatso. And I'm like, okay, well, wait a minute. Who's saying Fatso over 3 radio stations? That doesn't fit.
That's a jerk thing to say. Do you think
they roast him? They roast him so bad.
Do you think they? Yeah, you think they just have a really bad sense of humor, or do you think they're just are they asshole ghosts, or are they what are your thoughts?
I think that if you're an asshole in life, you're an asshole in death.
Amen, dude. Amen.
And I know a whole bunch of assholes in life, so it's like you're gonna be a jerk spirit. I can.
Why would you change? Why would you change just because you die? If anything, this is my opportunity now to really mess with people. You know.
Right. Right.
I refer to them to as asshole spirits. I mean, you can't have a sweet old grandmother and like she's gonna be sweet and old, but what about your grandfather who was a total dick? You know.
Yep. I've run into that grandfather plenty of times.
Oh, I bet. Now, what about like what's your thoughts on? I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like getting pushed or scratched. I've had some weird scratches that I couldn't define. Not that I'm saying that they came from a D word or a ghost or anything spiritual, anything like that. But what are your thoughts? Do you think it's could it be a spirit just not happy with you? Could it be? Does it have to be a D word?
No, it doesn't have to be a D word, and the spirit doesn't even have to be unhappy with you.
Mm-hmm.
It can be totally accidental.
Yep.
You know, you got to think, like, we're not talking about a corporeal being. Like, it's not me sitting here and touching my screen. I could feel the screen. It's something that is in some energy form that is trying to interact with you, but it doesn't know how much pressure to put. It doesn't know how much energy to put into it. So what you're getting as a bruise could be them just simply going, okay, easy.
All that energy.
Ah, crap.
Right,
I got him.
Right.
So
I've seen them turn on TVs before, allegedly, or move items getting tossed across the room before, like. So
well,
you gotta imagine
how much energy it would take to pick something up and set it back down versus just bam and let it go. You know, maybe it's easier to just push a whole bunch into it and then watch it fly.
True.
Who knows?
I had a we did an investigation. It was about 12 years ago now. It was at a house in Providence. And I'm not like a big religious guy at all. I was raised religious, but I've since I think everybody has a really, really nice way to look at things, but we don't all have to do it like what? Yeah, I'm just not a big church guy. But
9 times out of 10, if you really dig deep, a lot of it kind of stems from the same same
Yeah,
place.
right. They kind of have the same ideas, right? The same
Yeah,
ideas.
its
Just don't be
concepts
an
are very
asshole.
much the same. Just don't be an asshole. Don't
Right.
kill people.
Don't steal your neighbor's shit. Don't
Steal your
steal your
neighbor's shit.
wife.
Don't covet anything of your neighbors.
Right. Don't be a dick. Yeah, basically So all they have these same rules and stuff. But we were in the case. I called it case 13 because that was the number I was in at the time. And that was the this is my house, get out of my house over and over and over again on this SP7. Like, that's a little weird. And then there was like some more like weird voices. And the activity was like pretty insane. And it was like really torturing this woman that lived there.
Yeah.
We did the whole mental thing and everything. I work in mental health for a number of years. I have a licensed therapist in my group. So we did all that. We looked at all that first. And this woman would call me like every day. It's like an hour and a half on the phone, just tell me like tormenting stories. Like, I got to get this woman some help. So we went in with a team of local demonologists, and they did like a house blessing. I was raised Catholic, so it was very familiar.
Yeah.
We did the prayers and stuff, and there was just like these weird pains, these weird like experiences, like the EVPs. Some of the EVPs were like, I don't even like going back and look. It sounded like, honestly, it sounded like I don't want to be dramatic, over dramatic or anything. It sounded like 100 whispers in this basement, all at the same time.
Sure.
But one thing that I took away from that, the next day, I was in the shower, and I didn't feel it beforehand. But as I washed my hand, I'm like, what's that burn? What's that? You get out of the shower, and dude, like no shit, like no word of no shit, like from here, like right across my hairline. My hair is usually short like that. I had this cut. Now I had 2 cats at the time. I have a cat. I don't think she would like sit above me at night and like surgically with her paw, just like cut this line
With one nail, not all of them. With one.
with
nail.
all of them with one nail. It's this thin little line.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was like the D word or not, but it was definitely a case I moved on from. I let the demonologist take it. It didn't end well for them. It didn't end well for the woman.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that whole?
I think the D
spectrum of
word
shit?
is overused.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
think
That's why
it's-
that's why I don't like to say it.
Yeah, it's
You know?
it's just a word, demon.
Mhm.
It's just if you give the word power, you give whatever it represents power. It's just a
Right.
word.
Mhm.
Everyone uses demon as kind of a catch-all.
Yeah.
When really there's so much more out there that's not a demon that falls under the category for most people. I'll give an example. People often confuse elementals as demons.
Right.
They will rock your world and they will do some nasty things to you, but they have a different end goal.
Mhm.
They're not the same. It's no different than inhuman spirits.
Mhm.
There are negative energy manifestations that will seriously hurt you,
Yeah, right.
but they're attached to the person that's manifesting it. So it's not a demon, but oh boy, is it dark? Is it dirty?
So like something like a voodoo doll, like something like that. You think?
No, so I did one case where this was when we did residentials and we stopped shortly after.
Mhm.
This woman had this really traumatic past when she was a young girl. I'm sure you could probably guess.
Yeah.
And she repressed all of it.
Mhm.
She didn't talk to anybody about it. And then eventually, when she got older, she got married.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna say her husband was being improper with her, but shortly after getting married, she manifested this really dark shadow that would only attack her husband. Only him.
Okay.
And we came in and we recorded a bunch of crazy stuff, like stuff flying around and literally flying only at him. We had him leave the property, like not even the apartment building, but completely vacate the whole property, and it would stop.
Wow.
They would completely stop. And then we'd have him on a video call, and as he would pull into the parking lot outside the apartment, it would start back up again.
Wow.
So, our recommendation
Power
to
of
her,
emotion, you think of the emotional energy, or
dark negative emotions that just bottled up and manifested something that's just not good. Really dark stuff, and has the strength to attack people because it's feeding off of the host. It was never human, but it's also not a demon.
Yep.
It's dark and it's scary and it can hurt you. So eventually, we recommended, hey, this is what I think it is. I think it's an energy manifestation. You mentioned to me you had some stuff happen to you in a past life. I think the best case scenario for you right now is going to be therapy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, amen.
And we talked to her a few months later, and for whatever reason, her and her husband separated. I don't know why. And she said everything had stopped after she started going to therapy and talking about things.
Nice.
So again, not a demon, but those kind of things are often confused as demons because they'll scratch you and they'll do things to you and throw things.
All right.
So
that makes sense. So living manifested the living.
Yeah, and that's just one example. If you're more in the Chris Fleming route, they're elves and fairies and that kind of stuff. A lot of that stuff is dark too.
Yeah.
It's more neutral, but it'll rock your world.
I'm sure. I'm not saying that any of that's not real at all, or that I'm not into it. There's a lot of ancient European stuff, lore and legends and stuff with little creatures. But I'm a show me kind of guy. Just let me see something,
Sure.
for the love of God.
Sure.
And I'd be willing to put some time into it, like Bigfoot. I give people a lot of credit for going out there and I'm the same thing. I go into allegedly haunted buildings and sit in the dark. But I mean, I want to say I've come out with shit. I haven't. I'm yet to see a Bigfoot. I don't know. I'm yet to see anything that's convinced me of Bigfoot. What are your thoughts on the Bigfoot? Being out there from the Midwest, I know there's a lot of Bigfoot stories out that way. Yeah,
there's a ton. We have our own cryptids. Wisconsin has the Dog Man, and
oh right, the Dog Man. Yeah,
out by Chicago, like there's always some kind of a Mothman sighting.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's supposed to like foretell all this doom. Well, people are getting shot in Chicago every day, so it's like Mothman would be flying by on his paper route, just constantly like, "You're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die."
Right. That's the White Sox are terrible, so I can imagine Mothman is all around like.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a tragedy.
The Chicago Bears are awful. Oh my God.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Hold on. Don't judge us yet. We have a chance. We have a chance.
You're a Bears fan.
I am, and
I'm a Dolphins fan, so I have no legs to stand on. But I mean, good for you guys. It's a rebuilding decade or so, right?
Listen, the Packers might have a Super Bowl more than we do, but what they don't have is Dup Hope.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
we have Dup Hope, so we're gonna win this time.
Keep telling yourself that, dude. You gotta have the hope. The hope is what holds everything.
It's literally
together.
Stockholm. It's Stockholm syndrome at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God. Oh my God. I haven't seen the Super Bowl in my lifetime. So with my teams in it. So yeah. And I live in New England, which is even worse because oh my God, the New England Patriot fans are not exactly the best. And they tend to throw their beverages at me and say awful, mean, hurtful things to me during games.
Yeah.
And they at times they wanted to fight me in the like, dude, this is a fucking football game. I don't need to get in a fight with you. My team like sucks, dude. I know they suck. I'm not here to argue that. I'm just here to watch them and maybe hope that they'll do something.
Right.
I don't know.
That's why it's nice to be in the Midwest because we're so passive aggressive. We'll be like, your team sucks, but they're not that bad, eh? I mean, you tried your hardest. It just wasn't good.
Yeah. Oh God. Jesus.
But yeah, as for cryptids, I haven't experienced or seen any.
Yeah.
I had one instance where I think I saw the Dog Man. I was driving home from a haunted location at like 4:00 in the morning, driving through literally the countryside of Wisconsin, and this weird cryptid, bent leg dog looking thing was standing on the side of the road, and I was so caught off guard. I literally went live on my phone to be like, this is where I was at. It was at this exact time.
Nice.
And like, I'm in my car at 4 a.m, so it's just pitch black. It's just blackness and me talking into the darkness.
Nice.
But other than that, like I've never had an experience. I don't know necessarily how much I believe in cryptids. It's to the point now where it's like you have to bend over backwards to explain why we haven't caught one.
Right.
Now, Bigfoot's an interdimensional being.
Really? Right, that's what I'm hearing now. It's a ghost or it's an alien.
Yeah.
I don't know, guy. I don't know about that.
If it gets more and more complex, the likelihood of it being true gets smaller and smaller.
I was at a convention like 4 years ago. A guy I used to do podcasts with, he was emceeing the convention. It was a Bigfoot convention. There's a lot of really good speakers. There was a lot of great ideas, but there was this one group who just kept It was in Virginia. It was in the South. So not anything wrong with that. I love the South. It's beautiful. They just kept trying to tie Bigfoot back to Jesus. Like, no. I'm not the investigator you're looking for. I'm sorry. I just can't. I sell me on something else. Sell me on anything with Bigfoot. Just not. Don't bring the Bible into it. It's just no, thank you. I get some friends out in a friend. She's a regular viewer. How you doing, Melissa? She's from out there in near Point Place, West Virginia. So I think that's what that like Dogman country, or that's
I believe
Mothman.
I believe Mothman. It's either Point Place or Point Pleasant.
Yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, she's out
one of those two.
Right near there. It's like, it's everywhere. That's all I talk about. I'm like, show me a picture. Just give me something, dude, please.
The only Mothman I've ever seen was the statue with the big butt.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that.
That Mothman is caked up. That's all I know.
Yeah. Some lady on Facebook. I usually don't comment on like people will post pictures on certain Facebook groups and stuff, and like some of them are like terrible, and some of them are like, all right, maybe that's something. Some of them are like, oh my god, what's this guy doing?
It's the most blurry photo ever, and you're like, how did you think this was okay to post? And then why are you idiots? 30 of you in the chat totally feeding into this. You need to stop.
Totally feeding into it, right? So I got into this like 2 weeks ago. I don't know why I did it. I just had to like, buddy, you just got to say something. It was a picture of this lady was looking out the window. And she's like, look, I thought it was like a Mothman, or she was like, it's one of these cryptid beings. It's like, look at it, it's right in the middle of the stairs, and it's looking at me. She's like, oh yeah, it's totally staring at you. It's totally, I can see it. It's like amping this chick up, and like, I mean, getting her excited, or maybe getting her scared. I don't know, but I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm like, are you talking about the bush? And she's like, oh my god, you're so blind. What an asshole you are. I'm like, no. I'm like, look, you can see the green. She's like, what bush do you know that's black? I'm like, it's a shadow of the stone that's in front of it. And I'm just making just like basic conjecture. Like, this is what I think I'm seeing. And I'm a complete asshole. And how dare I? And why am I even on there? Come on,
I've posted
kind
like
of legitimate.
I've put legitimate full figured bodies in full spectrum photos in those groups to no comments, no engagement at all. And then somebody puts a half blurry reflection of a mirror. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's grandma. Your grandma's checking in on you. Shut up.
They're gleaming from the reflection in your fucking camera, and that's what you're looking at, dude. I mean, come on.
Or like it's totally a person standing behind you.
Yeah.
You can see their striped shirt. Well, maybe they're wearing that shirt when they died. Shut up. God, you people are insufferable.
Oh, it's ridiculous, dude. People just want to have that. And I get it. I can never replace that first experience. And every experience since then, it's absolutely phenomenal. And I get it. You just want to have that experience. I knew a guy once who bought. He's like, buddy, I went online and I bought a haunted doll. I'm like, dude, why the fuck would you buy a haunted doll?
I hope you spent $10.
He spent like $100. He's like, I want to have the experience. All right, even if the doll itself is haunted, why would you want to bring that into your home, dude? Because I want to have that experience. I want to live in a haunted house.
You know who didn't want to have that experience? Your wife and kids.
He wasn't married. He was just a single guy.
His cat and dog.
His cat and dog. He did take it home. He lived in a high rise, and he about 2-3 weeks after that, he messaged me again. He's like, buddy, he's like, you got to come over here. I'm like, why? He's like, because I'm having some like really crazy experiences here. Like the cupboards are swinging open, dishes are coming out of the cupboards and stuff. I'm like, since he got the doll, the stuff started out. He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, maybe give her the doll, dude. He's like, how do I go about doing that? I'm like, let me call someone for you, dude. And he sent over a demonologist, and they swept up his mess. But I mean, if you're not ready for the it's like a new puppy. Everybody loves a new puppy. Everybody loves a baby. Everybody loves a ghost, right? Until you get into shit like that, and it's really not. So yeah, stupid.
This stuff, it's like, walking into a bar and then just randomly swinging at people and waiting to connect with somebody. It's gonna backfire. Maybe you just shouldn't do it. At least learn Taekwondo first.
Yeah, go prepared or something, or get really drunk first, and I don't know, maybe it won't hurt as much. But
right.
ghost
But,
hunting really isn't that. You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be.
No.
You don't have to be special. You don't have to get spend $1 million.
The team that I'm on, Riverside Iowa Paranormal, they had an event at the Haunted Monroe House this last weekend here.
Was that in Illinois?
Indiana.
Indiana.
It used to be called the Monroe Demon House because they've got some dark, funky stuff there.
Yep.
It's not demons. It's just funky stuff. It's dark.
Yep.
So, there's history of some really whacked out things that happened there, and that creates dark spirits, right?
Yep.
So I'm just chilling by myself in this building while the team is like investigating with the event attendees. And I'm like, there's too many people in this room. The activity's kind of not that great because we're outnumbering the spirits. And I've found that spirits don't like that. They're not about that life. If there's like 8 of us and one of them, they're going to take off.
Right.
So I just dip out and go into a side room. And I don't use the SB7 anymore because it gives me a headache. I cannot stand the sound. I use a Phasma box. Now,
what's that?
A Phasma box is a Windows-based app.
Okay.
So it is an app speaker. But
app. Okay.
I like this one because one, it's Windows-based. So it's on a tablet, not on a cell phone.
All right.
So I can make sure that there's no data coming in because the Wi-Fi is turned off.
True.
I can also turn off the microphone to the tablet, which is on your cell phone. It's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
And then not only that, I've also made sure that the tablet was never updated. So it's still using version 1 point whatever when I bought it 10 years ago.
Oh, nice.
So it's as bare bones as can be. It's never used for anything but the Phasma. And it doesn't have a word bank. It has a sound bank.
Okay.
So it plays like a lot of reverb noises and stuff like that. And then the words come through in the reverb. So I really, really enjoy it. I use it for all my Estes sessions, and I didn't want to wear the headphones, so I just popped it onto my speaker, which again, because it's a tablet, it can wirelessly go to my speaker, which means I don't have to have all that junk on the table with me. I just have the speaker and I'm set.
Yeah.
And I'm just chatting with the spirits, and I took out a deck of cards. And I'm like, who wants to play blackjack? And for like 20 minutes, I'm playing blackjack with whatever spirit was with me, listening for hit or stay or even split if it applied. They kept losing, and then they got mad. And then when another investigator came in to sit with me, it was actually Brittney, they asked her to cut the cards. And then after she cut it the first time, they said again. So she cut the cards again. And I go through the whole rigmarole. And in that very next hand, the spirit got 21. And I'm like, that's bullshit. You cheated. It doesn't have to be hard. You can literally talk to spirits with a deck of cards.
Right.
You don't need a $500 piece of, plastic and electronics to have a conversation.
Oh God, no. And I don't know. I tell everybody, just talk to them like they're people. You don't have to be demanding. You don't be disrespectful. Would you like some jerk coming in your house and yelling at you or demanding shit out of you? No.
You'd be surprised though how often being a little disrespectful gets them to laugh at you.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Like when I called the spirit an asshole for cheating, the spirit box laughed, and I'm just like, that's not cool. No, we're playing again.
Yeah.
Treat them like a person.
Right.
And if calling them an asshole applies, they're gonna understand.
For sure.
So.
Don't be an asshole, but by all means, joke around. I once called a spirit. I walked into a bedroom, and I referred to it was a woman who was Victorian age. She died in 1932, but she was born in 1852. Really old, out there on Block Island here in Rhode Island. And I'm like, hey, where's the old lady? Let me talk to the old lady in the room. And the guy I was with, he's like, hey, buddy, you got to remember, this is a woman, Victorian era. You got to be a little bit more cordial. And he's like, hello, Mrs. Champlin, and immediately. Hello, this little old lady, just holy shit.
Yeah.
You can't make this stuff up, dude. It's just, it always, whether it's an EVP or it's a personal experience or I get touched or we don't have a ton of video. You got a lot of video going on? Where you got a lot of video evidence being a film guy?
Yeah. Most of my stuff comes through on video.
Wow.
It's just the best way to capture everything.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to audio, because you could see what everybody's doing.
Yep.
You could be like, hey, there was a floor pop. Well, if you look Steve over there shifted his weight. So more than
Mhm.
likely it was probably Steve.
Right. Yeah, that's a good way to eliminate stuff too. I would imagine a good way to say, "Hey, look, there's only like 3 people in this room. Here's the 3 people. Who's this 4th person coming through?" There's
Right.
no. I mean, because as much as you say, "Hey, this is like legitimate, and we're not trying to fake this stuff, and this really happened." I mean, what's to
Yeah.
say that it is? You know.
My favorite was when we would investigate. It was for the show. It was me, Dan, Steve, and Jen. Me,
Mhm.
Dan, and Steve. We don't have very high pitched voices. Our voices are a little on the lower end. And Jen, for a female, hers a little lower too.
Yep.
So as long as I'm looking at Jen's mouth, if we hear a higher pitched female voice and her lips are tight, I don't have to do anything else. I know that's a spirit because she's
Nice.
the only female there.
Yeah. Right.
So it doesn't matter. Like that was
Mhm.
weird. Now it's
Yeah.
weird. So or accents. Obviously people think that us in the Midwest have an accent. I don't know.
A little
Maybe
bit.
maybe a
A
little
little bit.
bit.
A little bit.
Some of the words it jumps out a little bit.
Yeah.
But like if you hear like a New England accent or a New Jersey accent, it
Right.
stands out. You're just like,
Yeah.
okay,
We definitely
none
stand
of
out.
us say car like that. None
Right.
of us
No.
say bag like
I
that.
don't say ours at all. Larry Eissler, Eissler,
Right.
with an
So
H at the end.
when you're in Chicago and you're kind of in the mafia-esque era
Hmm.
doing stuff, and all of a sudden you get these weird little twangs to the voice, you're like, okay, that's not any of us.
Hmm.
Who the heck was that?
Right. That's cool. That's cool. Have you ever investigated overseas? Ever done anything with any like foreign languages or anything like that?
So every once in a while we'll have something come through as a foreign language because of some kind of settlement or something.
Yep.
Like we were just filming a place in Wisconsin called the Jericho Haunted Trinity.
Mhm.
And it's one property, one long property that is a Catholic church, a convent, and a 4-room school
Oh, wow.
all together, but they're all separate buildings.
Mhm.
So the area was settled by German immigrants, German settlers.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So as we're listening, I'm doing the Estes. We actually did a double Estes back to back in a mirror room under red light while scrying. It was a bad idea.
Hmm.
I hear over my headphones, Guten Tag. And I'm like, Guten Tag? And then the other investigator with her, noise canceling headphones, she goes something along the lines of, I'm hearing German. So we're getting German stuff in an area where it makes sense to get German.
Right.
But as for like anything international, not yet. My
No.
very first international investigation is actually going to be Ireland in September.
Oh, that's wonderful. Whereabouts
Yeah.
you going in Ireland, dude? That's maybe get my attention.
So it's a part of a tour company called Secret Ireland Tours, and
Nice.
Brittney and Michelle are the ambassadors for the tour. They're both phenomenal investigators. Michelle is a demonologist, but also she's got
Nice.
the juju powers. She does all the
Yep.
stuff. Brittney's been
good.
investigating for forever and
Yep.
knows all the gadgetry and all the techniques and all that stuff.
Mhm.
And then I'm filming a 9-day documentary about the entire trip.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. What part of Ireland you
Oh.
guys going to? What do you?
I know we're going to the Hellfire Club, Lep Castle,
Yes.
a fairy farm, Powers Court Gardens, another castle that I can't remember the name of.
Yep.
And then a bunch of other things. Like every
Good.
day there's an itinerary.
Good friend of mine that investigates with me from time to time. He's done a lot of European stuff. He has a whole. We used to do like library presentations together, and he would bring his stuff from Ireland, from the Hellfire Club. So he has like 6 or 7 like really like bomb EVPs from there.
Sure.
Like the catacombs, all that like European history that's like thousands of years old.
Sure.
He has one. It's from a castle in Wales. He thinks it's Welsh. It sounds Welsh coming through.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of cool.
I'm really looking forward to this one because I don't speak that language. So we have a tour guide that's with us. Her name's Jenny Sullivan. She was on Spooked Ireland with Chris Fleming.
Nice.
So, she's going to be helping us because she goes to these locations all the time.
Yep.
And like, I'm like, hey, when I'm reviewing stuff, I'm going to have to send you audio. So
Yeah,
I could be
right.
like, what the hell does this mean? I
Right.
don't know what this word is. And it's going to be something super normal for her, but I'm going to be like, this just sounds like gibberish to me.
Right. Gaelic
Help
and
me.
Welsh and
Help
those
me.
older tribal languages sound like really like, oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Really tough.
I got nothing. Nothing.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Ireland's top of my bucket list. Not
Mm.
for the paranormal, just to just go see like where my family comes from. And I've been doing a lot of genealogical stuff on Ancestry.com, and like
Mhm.
wow, I'm maybe like wow, records are like really like pretty damn good. You can trace back relatives like to like 1200 AD in England. Like
Yeah, the
pretty
one thing
insane.
that never fails is death and taxes, and those
Yeah, for
tax
sure.
records will exist for forever.
Church records, the graveyard, baptismal records, and wedding
Uh-huh.
records, and yeah, and taxation. Yep, for
Yep,
sure.
yep, they go back deep.
I would love to. I got a really good dear friend of mine. His family, my family all emigrated from Ireland between like 1840 and 1860.
Okay.
Whereas his came over as recent as like his great grandparents came here from Ireland. So
Oh, okay.
like his cousin went over there like 10 years ago. He's like, dude, he went to the same like little village. He's like went to a pub. He's sitting there talking to the bartender about the Ahern family and whatnot. And the guy down the end of the bar was from the same village for like he was like in his 90s, and he
Yeah.
knew like he not only knew his great grandparents, but he showed him like the church that they went to, the house that they grew up in, the church they were married in, the port that they like left to go to America. So when his father passed away last year, he got his ashes and he's bringing his ashes back to that village in Ireland, and it just spread out.
Nice.
It's like so. Ireland is just, oh my god, it calls to me. But I mean the paranormal. Oh my god, I would need at least another month to do all that. Oh my god, it's absolutely fascinating. I honestly, there'd be like there's places in America where I could take at least a week just to investigate.
We spent 3 days at Jericho, and at the end of it, out of the 5 of us, like 2 or 3 of the investigators were like, we're done.
Yeah.
And then me and Brittney were like, I want to go again. Like, we need more time here.
Yeah.
3 days was not enough.
Right. It's very
So,
draining. Then you just like you get something, you're following up on that, or you're going on that, or this room was hot, or this room, so there's always so many avenues to explore for sure.
well, not only that, but like we didn't even really get to the source of the stories yet either.
Yeah.
Like we knew about the German settlers, we knew about the Native American settlement, we knew about the orphan train that went up to Oshkosh, which is on the other side of the lake. So and then we knew a lot of the orphans made their way over to the church, convent, and school.
Wow.
So we're able to start connecting all these dots, and then you've got spirits here who are starting to corroborate and mention these phrases and figures too. And it's like, okay, let's keep going. Oh shoot, my reservation's up. Now I need to come back later.
Yeah. Oh man. One spot that I've been to. God, I go there every year. I'm going again this year. I went last year for the conference last year, and I'm going to go again this year. I don't know if I'm going to get a table or not. It's just fun to be there for the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash.
I'll be there.
Yeah, you're going to go this year.
Yeah.
I went with my girlfriend last year, and she's like, I've never been to Gettysburg. I just want to like a history tour. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to do it. I'm like, I can go to this convention for a few hours, but then I spent most of the time we were there last year walking around the battlefield and just immersing myself in the history. Have you investigated Gettysburg?
So my first time out there was the conference last year.
Yep.
And I snuck away for one night. And then the rest of the time, like, I was attached to all the other people. The one time I was there, I went to Little Round Top.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
By the time I got to the top of it, I didn't realize there was a parking lot at the top.
Yeah.
So I parked at the bottom and hiked up.
Oh God, that's a long walk.
By the time I got to the top, they're doing like a spirit box session. You can hear me asking questions going, so what's your name? It did not work.
Yeah.
And then that night I went to I think it's the East Cavalry Field.
Yeah.
Now there I had some great experiences.
Nice.
This time around, I know I'm super grabbed by like all these different people All these different groups are like, okay, I want Thursday. What are you doing Friday night? Like Friday night, you're coming with us. Saturday night, and I'm like, you guys need to slow the hell down. Hold on. So I'm hoping to get out. I know my friend Taryn is like the queen of Gettysburg. She has all these spots that are off the beaten path that she's taking me to. And then either Friday or Saturday, there is an Airbnb that used to be a field hospital. That some friends of mine rented, and they're like, "You're coming here one of these 2 days. We're gonna hit this hospital." So I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah! Oh my god, hell yeah! I couldn't imagine the horrors of a Civil War battlefield hospital. I've seen photographs. I've seen the photographs outside of Gettysburg, like the piles of like the limbs. They're just tossed out the windows. I couldn't imagine the emotion and the energy that's trapped in some of these places.
Well, and like a lot of these floorboards, you know, on the bottom side, they're still stained.
Oh yeah.
The blood doesn't come out of wood.
Right. It's
you know, a lot of these floors are ruined, and that blood is still there.
Yeah. That's absolutely incredible. You got to figure that energy is definitely something as pivotal as the Civil War, something as pivotal as the Battle of Gettysburg. Though they were realizing like 20 years afterwards what a major event that they all took place in, and they all started like putting these monuments up, and like like there was something to this, guys. We didn't just like fight a battle here between like 13,000 people. This was some definitely the turning point in the Civil War. I've been there, like I said, I've been there. I went there twice last year, just for my own historical appreciation. Rhode Island has a lot of history connected with the battlefield like Gettysburg. We have a lot of pieces that are especially in a local museum here in Rhode Island that I volunteer at. So go to a lot of those spots when I go out there. I've never investigated the paranormal at Gettysburg. I've been there probably 25 times in my lifetime. And I was talking about at Big Jim, I forgot his last name. He does the little guitars. He makes like these different like guitars.
And it's Big Jim Jones?
Yeah, Big Jim Jones.
Yeah.
He was saying we should do the Sachs Bridge this year. The Sachs Bridge, I think it's that bridge in the southern half.
The bridge is like one of the most popular spots to go to because it doesn't have dusk hours.
Right.
So it will be saturated with people.
I bet. Yeah, I bet.
And that's why I didn't go last year, and I've been told not to bother this year, especially around the conference. There's going to be millions of people there.
Brother will go there, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you got to sneak off and find those little hidey hole spots.
Right. I've had a friend of mine. He's a historian. He does battlefield reenactments here in the Rhode Island for Rhode Island Battery B, the cannons and stuff, the artillery. And he's like, buddy, he's like, I'm not a big ghost guy, but he's like, I saw something like really weird that I don't know. I'm like, what happened, Bill? What's going on? He's like,
yeah.
So I went out. He's like, I took my daughter, was 4, and my girlfriend went out to Gettysburg, and it was like a week before Thanksgiving. All right. He's like, we're out on Confederate Row. We're just south of the Virginia Memorial with Robert E. Lee. It's massive. It's right around the spot where Pickett's charge started. And he's like, we're looking out in the field. He's like, and it's like 8:00 at night, so it's dark. He's like, I'm seeing fireflies out there. He's like, and they're at grass level. He's like, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever to see fireflies in November in Pennsylvania. He's like, you think it would have been ghosts? I'm like, well, yeah, like Picket charge went right across that lot of gunfire, a lot of it could have been ghosts, Bill. Could have been ghosts for sure.
It's a very common experience.
Yeah.
Also cannon fire. You can hear cannon fire going off at night, and it's like, what? Who's shooting off a cannon right now?
Right. The ghost there.
The ghost star.
I was up there for 155th anniversary. My another good friend of mine and this guy were in a reenactment, but the reenactments they do, the major reenactments, and the ones that film the movies and stuff, they have them way off the property. They don't do any like major reenactments on the battlefield at all.
Yeah.
And cannon fire takes place like miles outside of town, so that's just like however, that spot,
a film set will ruin those locations.
Right.
Absolutely ruin them.
Yeah, for sure. People are just like completely disrespectful, unfortunately.
Well, it's not that, it's the construction.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, when you're talking, you know, a major production that would need to utilize locations like that, you know, you're talking cranes that operate cameras, and
Yeah.
these gigantic, sky blankets that diffuse the light as big as a house.
Yeah.
It takes a crane to lift that. So
Oh,
you've
wow.
got those things tearing up the ground. You've got crew members trudging through the grass and tearing
Oh,
all
yeah.
that up. And then, just people
Yeah.
being there and taking shots and whatever they're doing. It just destroys everything.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, you couldn't have that amount of foot traffic on the battlefield, but that was the location of, at that point, that in history, the loudest day in American history, where Lee unleashed I think it was 160 cannons right before he ordered Pickett's charge, right at the center of the Union line for about an hour and a half nonstop. They heard it as far away as Washington D.C. and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I mean, some pretty big booms. I imagine some of that got maybe etched into time. You think it's emotion, Larry? What do you think it is? What do you think that holds them in time like that?
Well, we do know emotional imprints exist, and they don't have to be something super tragic. It can be something relatively minor, but it was important to the person.
Right. Sure.
So you could have someone that got killed by a cannon, and now the sound of the cannon and them getting hit by the cannon is now imprinted.
Yeah.
You could have the cannoneer having this, super stressed out, high fueled emotions, firing the cannons off, knowing he's blowing some people up.
Yep.
Now his emotions are imprinted with the sound of the cannon going off. Musket fire and all that stuff. It's
all
a
the things that
recipe
are
to
involved
where
in, the tragedy involved in war.
Yeah,
the awful ways that we learned to kill each other in the 19th century.
Absolutely. So it's so hard to pinpoint like what exactly it takes to do this. But we've gotten to the point where we can kind of figure it out. Like, hey, these dudes were super stressed out, and they all knew they were on death's door. So maybe there's a little bit of a pin pricking the veil a little bit, and something just got caught in the middle.
For sure. Yeah,
it's hard telling. You could theorize, but
yeah. People ask me all the time, like, "Oh, you go to these haunted houses. Like, did somebody kill themselves there? Did somebody kill somebody else there?" I'm like, no, it doesn't always involve that, dude. Believe it or not. Most of the time, it's like a family, a couple will come together, get married, buy a house, raise a family. Their kids will move out. They'll have grandkids. They'll be like 60 years, and then they both die. They put all that energy, all that love, all that into that house. And why would they not want to go back to that house and all that positivity that comes out of that house?
There's a museum where I live in Rockford. It's called the Tinker Swiss Cottage. It was on Jack Osborne's Night of Terror a couple years ago, which that episode was totally fabricated. So it's all garbage. But the house itself is cool because there's like 7, 8, 9 spirits that live there that choose to live there because it was their house when they were alive. So they've all crossed over, they've all come back, and that's where they live now. And they'll mess with the staff. They're super interactive, super friendly, jokester spirits, and they're just like, no, this is where we want to stay. So we stay here now.
Oh, that's cool.
Like Robert Tinker, the guy that built the house, handmade the furniture, did a lot of the artwork. That's where he built his life. And, he had 2 wives there, which the wives were sisters, which is kind of funny. But both the wives are there, and Mary Tinker's the head wife. Her sister Jessie was a marriage of convenience because at that point they were alone in the house and they couldn't be alone together unless they were married. So it was a marriage of convenience to allow her to live there. Wow. And there's maids and children and farm workers. They all just that's their spot. They like it there.
Nice. Yeah, so they go. It doesn't have to be something horror movie related or something horrific or something bloody hell. It's sometimes it's just people just being people, right?
Every single one of them died of old age.
Yeah. Oh, that's tremendous.
They're just like, hey, I'm back now too.
Yeah.
So
all right. So speaking of ghosts and history, I want to get into it a little bit before time runs out tonight. Your books, Larry, especially the Ghost of the Black Hawk War. Black Hawk War is such a small, minute I did a little reading on it last night. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy. I'm like, oh yeah, Abraham Lincoln. Oh yeah, these awful treaties that
There's some familiar faces in that war, huh?
Holy yeah, Jefferson Davis and Abraham Lincoln. They fought in the same command, and then they went on to fight against each other. And
sure did.
Was it Winfield Scott was the guy who came through and took over as general, and he was the oldest general, like one of the oldest generals in American history. And yeah, a lot of like, oh, I know this guy. Oh, I know this guy. Oh, look at this. I know this name. But just another case in history where, oh my God, I read about the St. Louis Treaty, which is what Black Hawk really didn't like that much, which was
Treaty of St. Louis in 1804.
Whole hunk of bullshit, guys. They basically framed these Native Americans for murdering a white settler, and then the natives put together like a council to go and plead for the lives of these guys. And they said like, all right, yeah, we'll let them go, but you got to like cede all this land to us, all this like really rich farmland right around the Mississippi River Valley. And they're like, oh yeah, sure.
For nothing. Like
they might have been drunk too at the time, where they might have been like intoxicated. And then as soon as they let these natives go, they're like, oh, they started running, they ran, and they shot them dead. And
we don't have a good history with the Native Americans.
No, it's terrible. It's I'm here in New England, and we had the King Philip's War was the first one, but we had a whole ton of wars up here where we basically eradicated the Native American population around the area and just settled it as our own. It's an awful black mark on American history. Some of the awful, oh my God, wars that we led against Native Americans, just as a means for American expansionism and whatnot. But I mean, yeah, just a terrible. So your book covers the ghosts of this war. Tell us a little bit about this. Go ahead.
So the book is a mild tour through history, just enough to give you the basic information about every battle and massacre site. And then we went through for years and did investigations at all the ones we could find. Nice. Now there are a lot that are like in the middle of a guy's cow pasture now.
Yeah.
It's just not accessible anymore.
Right.
Or you know, like there's a shopping mall built over the plot now. Well, we can't really do much there. So, you know, there's a lot of sites that are gone, but there are still a lot that are accessible.
Yep.
And you come to find out after 200 something years, these dudes had a lot to say.
Yeah. I bet.
So, some of my best stuff comes from researching the Black Hawk War.
Nice.
I have on video, we're using an SB7, and Dan is in front of the camera just asking questions, and we were kind of just messing around. We not really answering anything specific yet. And he just goes, so how many spirits are out here with me? And it goes 7. And he goes, oh, I heard 7. And then before he could ask the next question, the verbal command to fire comes across the speaker.
Wow.
So AM stations were in the middle of nowhere, running backwards on a fairly decent speed.
Yep.
And we get the verbal command to fire on the anniversary of one of the battles on a site that was where the battle took place. And that was actually kind of cool. It really like caught him off guard. And I'm looking at him, I'm just like, holy shit, what was that? I can't believe we caught that.
That's pretty cool.
And then there's other instances where we have like specific officers being called out.
Oh wow.
So
can you trace those officers' names to officers that existed? Yeah.
Yeah, Stillman.
Oh wow.
The 9 men that died on the battle site for Stillman's run, they think he's a coward.
Oh wow.
They do not like him at all. But he was a political officer.
Right.
So everything was about politics and what his next move was, and
they made some of the worst military leaders in my mind. Dan Sickles of the Union Army just sticks out in my mind. Speaking of Gettysburg,
sure,
he made some terrible military decisions,
and they still do.
Yeah, of course they do.
They still do. So a lot of really cool instances, and then we're still in the process of getting to Wisconsin because that's the second half of the war was in Wisconsin.
Right.
First place we went to was the Battle of the massacre at Bad Axe, the Battle of Bad Axe,
yep.
And it's like the size of a football field approximately. And then like in the middle of the Mississippi River, there's 2 islands where The
A lot of
gunboat
them
mowed them
drowned.
down on the island too.
Right.
So, you have hundreds of people just getting mowed down by gunboat in approximately the size of a football field.
Right. A lot of, if I remember, is that the battle where a lot of the women and children were trying to escape across the river and either drown or were shot?
Whatever was left at that point.
Yeah, that's
because once they crossed into Wisconsin, they were pretty much in full retreat. So, you can see the path just kind of wind through a bunch of areas. And, they had no food. They were getting sick. They were exhausted. The elderly were just falling out from everything, exhaustion, age, illness. And, their customs are to treat their dead. They just had to leave them on the trail. And then right behind them was the regular soldiers, the regular army, just picking them off from behind.
Yeah.
So by the time they got to the river, it was like they were kind of wedged between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that had the strength to do it tried to swim. Some of them did make it across, and then they got mowed down on the other side.
Oh God.
Some were captured and handed over, but a lot of them they didn't make it. Just straight murdered.
Yeah, that's terrible.
So, and the amount of stuff that we got there just by swinging by and being like, okay, well, we got an hour or two. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I brought my friend Diet, my BFF, and she's a stupid, crazy, accurate psychic medium. It's creepy. And she's kind of doing her thing, and she starts going like, who's the father? Somebody's father's here. And we're using the Necrophonic, which is a phone app. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. If something's coincidental, we'll see. And the Necrophonic goes Paesa. And I don't speak Sauk. I don't speak Fox.
Right.
I don't know what that means. So I'm sitting there going through the footage, and I'm like, she's talking about the father. And then I hear Paesa. I'm like, maybe Paesa means father. Maybe that's their word for it. So I put in the best spelling I could find was Paesa. I think I spelled it like Payesa, just guessing.
Yeah.
And then I put Sauk. And come to find out that Paesa is the name of Blackhawk's father.
Oh wow. Wow.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's a little coincidental. That
was crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, you've got these little things that pop up, but we were only there for an hour or so. You got to keep going back over and over and over and over again and kind of stitch a story together from the responses.
Yeah, right.
So, and it doesn't help that I'm getting more and more busy by the year too.
Yep.
So just this year alone, I think I have 6 documentaries that I'm filming.
Wow.
So it's like, some of them are other people's projects, but it's like I'm still there for a week.
Yeah,
and then it takes me like a week to recover.
So, of course.
A week of 3 hours of sleep every day.
Wow. No, that's awesome. That's I'm a little bit jealous. I'm not gonna lie. Some of your other books. The other one that drew my attention was the one about social media. The
dark side of social media and the paranormal.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about that, Larry?
So that one's a little like 30-pager ebook. It's just something to get the discussion started.
Yeah.
And we kind of hit on it a little bit, talking about those Facebook groups.
Right.
Where, people feed into this stuff. Well, there's the opposite too. You've got the debunker groups where, everything is debunked. Nothing is paranormal. And it's like, but you weren't there and you can't say that.
Right.
But you can't tell them that. Because they'll tear you apart, just like they'll tear you apart in the Everything's Paranormal group.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's going to be
and then, if you really sit down and think about it, people that are super heavily into the paranormal, a lot of them have mental illnesses.
Yes.
So, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Neither, right? It's something else, isn't it?
I don't know. Are people with mental illnesses drawn to the paranormal, or is the paranormal drawn to them?
People with I can. All right. So, as a mental health professional, I can tell you that people with mental health are there's always something where they're involved in something more grander, they have special powers, or they're more special than somebody else, or they're the voices that they're hearing, or with schizophrenic adults, some of them believe that it's like the Lord talking to them. Like, I don't know,
and you'll find encouragement for that stuff in the paranormal community.
You do, yeah, you do. People feed right into it.
Feed right into it.
Well, you gotta. That's one thing. Whether I do when I do like a historical location, I do it to the questionnaire, or when I do like a reputable spot, I'm not gonna do it. But like if I'm invested, somebody's like, hey, I gotta go to my house, come and check it out. I'm like, oh sure, let me just like do an interview with you over the phone first. There's always those questions that ask, is there mental illness in your family? Well, yeah, there is, and I'm on medication. Oh, that's great. Do you take your meds? Yeah, every now and again. Well, you should probably take them every single day, and then we'll talk.
You should probably take your meds for a month and get back to me.
Yeah, right. Because it could be symptoms 110%. I've had people that are fully convinced that the Lord and the devil were fighting a war for absolute control and power in their own body, and they were like the host of this war. So anything and everything. They just believe that there's more to it, and I think there's more to it too. But you are not the chosen one to with all the magical powers. So
I think people that do have some kind of an illness, I think there is something to that. Because there's preconceptions that those people tend to not have, because they already believe wholeheartedly in something that makes it easier to tap into the paranormal.
Okay, or like a child not believing that ghosts aren't real.
Right. So maybe there is something to it, but when it comes to like social media, it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good, and it's not good for the paranormal community as a whole.
Right.
So
it makes it a little bit less legitimate, if anything. Yeah.
It makes it really hard to have people look at legitimate findings that we have that you can't explain and not go, well, it's paranormal. You guys are all crazy. Like,
right. Yeah. Right.
No. Watch what I just showed you. I literally just showed you somebody walking across the room and no one's actually there. Well,
it could be a shadow. It could be but it's not a shadow. Look, there's no light in the room. I don't know.
Yeah. So
there's some skeptics. You can't tell them anything. You can't show them the most legitimate proof there is, and they will, of course. But on the other hand, I feel like it's good to have that good balance to be a little bit skeptical.
You should be. The first thing you should always think about is, okay, well, it was hot today.
What else?
It's cool now. Buildings contract and expand, and
right. What else could this be? Right. What else
could this be? I know the air conditioning and the heating is going wherever I'm at. Are there ticks as the system goes up and down?
Right.
It's not always a ghost. Sometimes it can be coincidental. Let's try again and see if it'll repeat it.
Right.
So, but yeah, social media, pros and cons, right? The only reason you and I are doing this right now is because of social media.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, is that a pro? Maybe not.
I think
I'm not
so.
sure.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if you go to one of those photo groups and you comment on someone's post and they tear you apart, well, now it's not really a pro anymore.
No, yeah,
now
because it's completely negative. And then every time I put it on social media, it's like, oh, you got a comment from this person. Like, oh god, here we go.
Well, now you've got the dopamine effect for getting hits on all your stuff. You've got the slot machine effect where you're just sitting there scrolling and waiting for the prize as you find something.
Yeah.
So you're just feeding chemicals into your brain nonstop. Nonstop.
For sure. It's good to disconnect from that. There's totally something to shutting the screen time that we hold kids to. There's definitely something more to that for us as well, I think. So Larry, if people want to find you, find your books, find any of the media that you do, I got the website playing below. Is there any other way that people can see you, see what you're doing?
So the best place to find me is Facebook with that. Where is it? That name. I got the blue check mark, so you know it's me. On there, on my about section, you can find that website down below, and also my link tree to where you can find all the links through there too.
Yep.
And then I'm all over Facebook. Really, I have an Instagram. I'm not super active. I have a TikTok. I'm not super active. Really, it's just Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook's the easiest because I can share articles and stuff like that, which is super hard on other platforms. But yeah, like you can find all the film stuff I do on my website or LinkedIn or Linktree, sorry. The books, they're all over the place. They're pretty easy to find. And then the pinned post on my Facebook is my event schedule. So all the events that I'm going to be at this year, whatever is left of them, you'll find it on there.
That sounds good. Sounds like a good time. That's awesome. And you'll be at Gettysburg all 3 days this year?
Yep, all 3
That's
days.
you have a table? Yeah.
I do. I just don't know where.
Well,
Because I've heard there's 2 large vendor rooms, and I just don't know which one I'm at yet.
Yeah. The Eisenhower is the more popular, and then the
I think
the
the
other one
Aspire?
off to the side starts with an A. Astoria, maybe, I don't know.
I think
Aspire,
it's the
yeah.
Aspire.
I think
Yeah.
it's Aspire. Yeah, I went and saw Tony Rathman and Ron Iacovetti do the live. Their oh my god, they do that. It's like radio. It's something. It's not radio though. It's direct radio, but it's not radio. It's I can't remember what they call it now. I'll remember it in like 20 minutes. But yeah, it's a phenomenal group of people and all come together for a great cause in a great city, a great town, by the way. So if you're not into the whole ghosty thing, you have the whole history. Yeah, you have a little bit of both there. So definitely check that out if you're in Pennsylvania. July, what is that? July 25th, 26th, 27th, right around
whatever that weekend is. Yeah.
Yeah, right around the end of July. Next week, if you're not doing anything, stop back on the Ghost and the Goat, as we welcome Richard Brault. He's a more local investigator here from the lovely state of Massachusetts. He'll be joining us probably after some abysmal talk about my abysmal Red Sox, who are just going to get, as the season goes on, as we get closer to the All-Star break, it's just going to get worse. And then after the All-Star break, everything will fall apart. And I'll look forward to a football season, which is probably going to suck also. But anyway, for Larry Eissler III, this has been Buddy Thayer, the Ghost and the Goat. I thank you all for tuning in tonight. And I don't know. Always drink good beer. I did, and it was delicious. Cream ale. Always be open to new experiences, too. That's about it. That's all I got for you guys. Have a good week. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.